Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Legend of Zelda Marathon. Mr. Miyamoto, we meet again. The Prince Darkness Ganon has stole one of the Triforce with power and yeah, you know what, this just screams early NES translation, so allow me to paraphrase, which would actually mean going into a bit more detail than what this intro screen offers. The hero can be named anything you want, but canonically the boy is known as Link, apparently because Miyamoto wanted this boy to represent the link between the game and the player. It makes sense, but I'm going to call him Johnny anyway. And Bort. Hey Bort. You also need to be cautious of what bush you burn or what mountainside you bomb. Sometimes the secret room inside can contain a friendly guy who awards you rupees, and other times it can be a frenzied old fuck who forces you to pay out for the door repairs. Door repairs? It's a fucking bush. The game's map is totally worthless. Yes, that gray blank box on the top left side of the screen is your map of Hyrule. Well, fuck that. This is pretty much required to find all the secrets and dungeons with ease. The advice the old man can offer overall is downright baffling most of the time. Dodongo dislikes smoke. Well, who or what is a Dodongo? Is he a friend, a douchebag neighbor, a boss? So it's only a matter of time before you discover the correct way to proceed. Except when trying to get past this guy in Dungeon 7. Give him the meat, that's what he wants. Oh, come on. Surely it was obvious enough that grumble grumble translates to give me the expensive food that you can only acquire in a shop in the overworld, which you're not exactly sure on what it does without the manual, but you should have it in your inventory anyway. What's that? It wasn't? Well, fuck me. Right around Dungeon 3, you're introduced to these assholes, Dark Nuts. Dark Nuts. Why does that sound like a portal version of Dark Knight? It also doesn't help that the game later introduces the blue variety, which not only hit harder, they also take more hits to kill. Then there are these little shits, Wizzrobes, who can seriously wreck your shit up in such a small amount of time. It can be a nightmare. Like Dark Nuts, there's two variations of them, but these guys like to teleport all over the place, and the blue ones never stop fucking moving. Christ, just stay still already. Ganon's dungeon is the epitome of cruel. This place is enormous and filled to the brim with all sorts of enemies and ways to drain your health like nothing else. Take my advice. Use a map. And I'm not talking about the one you find inside the dungeon itself. No, use a real fucking map on GameFAQs or something like that. Because Ganon's dungeon is also filled with a lot of dead ends, with a horde of Wizzrobes waiting to ambush you. Fresh meat, fresh meat, fresh meat. Damn, did I really die 20 times during the Let's Play? Now, just because this is a direct sequel to the last game, that doesn't mean Link is equipped with all the shit he earned from his previous adventure. I'm gonna presume since Link is a little older, he simply grew out of his weapons and tools. It's stupid, yeah, but I don't know, you'd think of something. So besides rocking that short skirt once again, Link still has the use of his sword and his shield, which looks like an inanimate carbon rod from the profile view. Townspeople don't offer much in terms of conversations, but some of them can offer you hints to nab certain items. The hints are definitely a lot more coherent than last time, but it's still rather limited and outdated. All you have to do is locate the hidden item in one of the chambers, beat the boss located at the end of the dungeon, and it's off to the next palace. It's pretty easy stuff to understand. So, to make up for that, I guess, the developers have made it their duty to make this one of the hardest fucking games I've ever played. I'm not kidding here, folks. This game will kick you in the goddamn throat and cut off your phone line to prevent you from calling the ambulance. Bigger and tougher enemies drop larger amounts of experience, and sometimes you can even find experience in a bag. I always thought those were peanuts when I was a kid, don't ask. You're going to need all the points you can get, people. It's not just a matter of locating the next destination, but trying to survive the amount of shit this game throws at you. But damn, these enemies keep kicking my ass! Lizalfos and their damn maces, stronger variations of Iron Knuckles, the Ku Klux Klan. If that wasn't bad enough, there are also lava pits that can instantly kill Link, taking away one of his lives. And yes, I said one of his lives. Link has actual lives in this game. Lose all three and it's game over. Now, if you get a game over, you can save your progress to play another day, and you'll still retain any level ups or items you earn. However, current experience points are lost, and you begin your journey at Hyrule Temple. Every damn time. If you made a shit ton of progress in the overworld and were just about to complete a palace, but got a game over in the process, you're taken all the way back to Hyrule Temple, where you have to arduously, gruelingly journey your way back to the palace you died at, and hope to God you make it this time around. This is the most bullshit part of the game for me. There is nothing more frustrating than losing all of my lives in a palace and then having to start over at Hyrule Temple. What the hell is that all about? Knockback. I hate knockback. I thought I was playing a Zelda game, not Castlevania. What the fuck? Invisible pits? This is Castlevania. The enemies here are just ridiculous. You got these dancing birds who spit fireballs, and most annoyingly, these goddamn burnt knights that not only block attacks, but they keep fucking jumping everywhere. Please stay still. Stop following me. Go away. Stop, please. This place is just, hey, that wasn't fucking fair. That thing just appeared out of thin air. Holy hell, this place is a nightmare. This guy hits like nothing else, even with your defenses maxed out. Come on, I can do it. No, fuck! Son of a bitch, now I have to... You're telling me that if I get a game over at the Great Palace, I begin at the beginning of the Great Palace and not Hyrule Temple? Why couldn't every palace be like that? Why start doing that now? That's annoyingly inconsistent! But I'm the very least grateful. Alright, I'm ready for you, Thunderbird. Thunderbird. Wasn't that the name of a show with puppets? God damn it. No, not yet, not yet. Gotcha! Yes! Burn, motherfucker! Alright, we all know that's not the end of it. Upon defeating Thunderbird, you come across this old man who presents you one last challenge. Your Shadow, or Dark Link as he's called. Fuck this. I feel I've already proven my worth just by getting this far, so you know what? I'm just gonna stand over here, crouch, and strike his knees. This isn't the hardest game I've ever played, but it's right up there, ladies and gentlemen. This game pulls no punches, it doesn't hold your hand, and it certainly doesn't know the meaning of the word mercy. Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. The franchise has jumped into the 16-bit world. Was it as good as, say, Super Mario World, or Super Metroid, or Super Castlevania 4? Well, absolutely. I'm not spoiling anything by saying this is one of the most acclaimed titles in the franchise's history. But I don't know. This is 2013 and no longer 1991. Is the game still as good as it was back then? Well, let's pop this baby in and find out. Okay, now that we got the establishing shot done, let's really play the game on the Virtual Console. I'm not even going to begin to explore that kind of stuff, but here's my philosophy. I don't care about the timeline. In the end, I play a Zelda game for the story within the game itself, and not how it affects the legend in its entirety. To put an end to the madness it brought, 7 sages combined their powers together to seal up the way to the Golden Land, bringing peace to the land of Hyrule. Wait, what the hell's up with this one? Is he on his knees or is he just really short? I'm sorry for breaking the immersion like that, but it's kind of distracting. Generations later, an evil wizard known as a god Nim discovered the means to unlocking the way to the Golden Land and put a plan into motion. He gained the trust of the king of Hyrule, and holy shit, he incinerated him! Damn, that's kind of overkill, don't you think? Though he's warned to stay home by his uncle, who attempted to rescue Zelda himself, Link travels to Hyrule Castle anyway, where he sees his mortally wounded uncle slumped on the floor. Dude, that wasn't even 100 feet. Zelda enlightens Link that he'll need the Master Sword, the Blade of Evil's Bane, to finish off fuck it, I'm calling him Jerry from now on. In order to prove his worth, he needs to collect 3 pendants located in 3 different dungeons sprinkled across Hyrule. Luckily for us, Link is a hell of a lot more versatile than previous incarnations. Or is it future incarnation? Fuck it. I know that doesn't sound too remarkable, but after dealing with Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, this is a fucking godsend. If I had a list of the most satisfying things I can do in a video game, picking up a pot and chucking it at an enemy would rank very high on that list. There's just something so compulsive about it to me. Fuck you, yeah! But if there's one boss I can't fucking stand for the life of me, it's this asshole right here in the 3rd palace. If you're not precise with your attacks, you'll bounce off of him like a rubber ball, and if you fall off the edge, you need to climb up back to the room where the fight restarts, with all of his health restored. Fuck! 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 Ah! To complete the 1st palace, the Elder Sahaz will give you the Pegasus Boots, which lets Link do an extremely useful dash attack that could also be used as a means to travel through Hyrule faster than ever before. Dungeon upgrades include things like the hammer, which can destroy enemies with rock-hard defenses, and equipment that allows Link to travel more through Hyrule, like the Power Glove. Huh. Who knew that a failed NES accessory allowed you to lift a fucking 2-ton block above your head? I hate Wall Masters. These bastards were also in Zelda 1, but here they're relentless. If they manage to grab you, they carry you all the way back to the entrance of the dungeon. That can get pretty damn annoying. Well, at least there's no darkness this time around, and fortunately, whiz ropes aren't as dreadful as they were before either. Fuck Fuck you, Ice Palace, I hate you. Fucking ice physics on the floor, there's spikes everywhere, conveyor belts, so many goddamn floors, and this godforsaken block puzzle that requires you to loop around a few rooms just to flick a switch to get this one door to open. And yes, I know I can technically use the Cane of Somaria from Dungeon 6 to make this puzzle a complete joke, but I didn't do that for this review, so I'm gonna bitch! So with the 7 dungeons completed and the 7 maidens rescued, the girls open the way to the final dungeon, which, while difficult, is not as frustrating as the Great Palace from Zelda 2 or Ganon's dungeon from Zelda 1. It can still be a pain in the ass though, especially in this room. Fuck! No, wait, oh! Yeah, you can fall down during this boss fight too, and just like the battle with this asshole, you have to restart the entire fight if that happens. With peace restored to Hyrule, Link places the Master Sword back in its pedestal where it sleeps once again. Forever. Nope, couldn't keep a straight face. If you don't have an SNES, get it on the Virtual Console, or get the portable version on the Game Boy Advance if you have that. Good old Game Boy player, welcome back my friend. Anyway, it's pretty much the same game, only the colors are a bit more washed out because, well, it's on the Game Boy Advance. A lot of ports of SNES games had washed out colors. You can make the color scheme a bit darker if you're playing this on the Advance SP or a DS Lite, however. The only thing I don't like about this version is... Yeah, because that's what we needed. The little shit screaming like he's pulling out nose hairs with each swing. The Game Boy Advance version also contains another Zelda adventure called The Four Swords, but I'll save that for another Zelda marathon. I also need to get 2 more Game Boy Advances to properly play the game. It's not a single player adventure. Now, seriously, who the hell used this thing when the Game Boy Advance was the handheld to buy? Why the hell do we even have this? Meh. You guys made me very curious. Just why were so many of you hellbent on having me reviewing this game before jumping to the N64? Is it because it was the first Zelda game on a handheld? The fact that it got a Game Boy Color re-release right after the release of Ocarina of Time? Or the fact that the game's cover looks remarkably similar to A Link to the Past? Look at this brick and that puke green screen. This is what you call an early 90s handheld. Dot matrix, oh yeah. Nobody knew what the hell that meant, but it was okay because it sounded cool and that was the name of the game back then. Several staple upgrades from previous games return in this game, although Link's arsenal overall is not as grand as before, unfortunately. No hammers, no spells, no bottles, and I really miss those. 2 exceptions to this, however, are the last 2 dungeons, Eagle Tower and Turtle Rock. Fucking hell, these 2 have to be the most repetitive, drawn out, and just plain uninteresting dungeons I've ever traveled in. The puzzles can be a total chore to solve because of the item switching problem I mentioned earlier. I gotta lift objects here, I need to dash jump here, I can't count the amount of times I stop dead in my tracks just to look at my inventory. After some final words from the owl, the Windfish wakes up, erasing Koholint Island from existence, leaving Link stranded in the ocean. Yeah, thanks, asshole. With nowhere left to go, the game just ends. That's closure. Well, if you manage to beat the game without dying once, you get an extra scene which implies that Marin herself made it out of the dream as a seagull. Fascinating. But Link is still lost at sea. I mean, what the fuck? What's with all the Mario cameos? You got Shy Guy, Sparks, Pokies, War... Dream enemies! The clever bastard is telling us the true nature of the island before Link discovered the truth himself. And wait a minute, is that Kirby? From Dreamland? Oh, you crafty bitches. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Okay, first off, is it Ocarina or Ocarina? I hear people pronouncing it differently all the goddamn time. How is it pronounced? Willst thou flee or fight? Willst thou finish or die trying? And in the end, willst thou get the girl or play like one? Ooh, ouch. Taunting and misogyny in the Nintendo commercial. I'm guessing that one didn't last very long in the air. You may have noticed that the hunt for the spiritual stone sounds remarkably similar to the pendant collecting Link did in A Link to the Past. While it's true that both quests are similar in concept, the purpose for collecting the items are a bit different. In A Link to the Past, Link needed to collect the pendants to obtain the Master Sword to beat Jerry, and in this game, we're just collecting the spiritual stones to keep Ganondorf away from the Triforce in the Sacred Realm. Saying it out loud makes you realize, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. These guys sure have gotten a lot prettier during the 3D transition. How the hell do you go from this to this? Are they 2 separate races that are both known as Zoras? Well, I guess you can call the King of Zoras a fusion between the 2 designs, but I'm getting off topic here. It's revealed that Ganondorf was secretly following Link the entire time, and that pulling out the Master Sword opened up the path to the Sacred Realm itself. To make matters worse, pulling out the Master Sword also caused Link to go into a magically induced coma, allowing Ganondorf to take the Triforce with no resistance. Womp womp. Zelda gives Link the power of the light arrows to help defeat Ganondorf, and as soon as she does so, she's magically captured by Ganondorf. Shouldn't have removed your ninja disguise there, Zelda. Why did she remove it in the first place? What is she hiding from Ganondorf all this time? Link places the Master Sword back in its pedestal, and Navi just kind of leaves. She just leaves. I thought she and Link were pretty good friends at this point. What the fuck? The very last scene is young Link and the young Princess Zelda meeting once again in the garden where they initially met. Sup, yo. Here, Link has a total of 3, count 'em, 3 item buttons to equip items from your inventory. So not only can you utilize items such as the slingshot or boomerang with one button, but by pressing the corresponding arrow button, you can also use that bottle of milk you have on standby or that wooden stick that makes for an effective beating weapon. This seriously kicks ass. In addition to the sword and shield having their own separate buttons, having 3 item buttons makes battles and obstacles more comfortable to confront, and it doesn't break the pace in the slightest. That's how you do it. Okay, Pora Gabora, I don't want to hear all of that banter again. This owl will occasionally interrupt your progress when you reach an area for the first time, and while it's helpful for the first time player, you'll try everything in your power to avoid making eye contact with this fucking bird on your second and third playthrough. God damn it, no! Go away, K Pora Gabora! Go away! Go away! You're not going away, are you? Fucking real. The reason why the water temple gets so much shit from a lot of people that have played this game is not just because of the constant need to raise or lower the water levels to get to new locations, but the need to constantly pause the game and switch to the iron boost to walk underwater. You know what really aggravates me about this temple though? You know when you're trying to solve a puzzle and you spend so long looking for the solution, and then when you finally find it you slap yourself in the forehead for not realizing it earlier? This place is chock full of that kind of shit, and it pisses me off. I just can't for the life of me remember the fastest method of completing this place. And why can't I use nothing but my hookshot underwater? Or better yet, why can't I just fucking swim? Mario can do it. I'm sure Link can do it too. Poor Navi. She gets so much shit for being that one fairy companion that doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. But really, the only time I find her annoying is when she's telling me to go to my next destination when I'm already on my way to the next destination. Other than that, she's pretty cool, if a little loud. I still got a side jump everywhere as young Link though. Pegasus Boots, where'd you go? Me and Majora's Mask have a bit of history together as far back as its initial release. I especially remember the commercials for this one back in the year 2000, particularly the one with the World Wrestling Federation's Hardy Boy stopping in the middle of a match to watch some random kid play Majora's Mask.
He's got 72 hours to save the world.
72 hours to save the world? Masked Kid, after spending a minute taunting our hero of time, proceeds to then transform Link into a Deku scrub, prompting Link to have the appropriate reaction. Thanks to the Masked Skull Kid, the moon, complete with a face, is slowly falling towards the land of Termina. In 3 days, the moon will crash, killing everybody in the process. I mean, shit. Link eventually finds the means to confront the Masked Skull Kid just mere minutes before the moon crashes, cutting it a little close there, don't you think, Link? Unfortunately, Link didn't get the mask back as promised, prompting Mr. Smiles here to have a psychotic episode for about a few seconds before calmly telling Link the importance of getting the mask back from the Skull Kid. A day in the world of Termina is about 18 minutes long in real time, so multiply that by 3, and you have a measly 54 minutes to travel to each location in Termina, complete the dungeons, and save the world. There's even a bank in Clock Town where you can store your rupees, which will still be there even when you reset time. Bank fraud. If you're not of the multitasking type and don't want to risk missing the appointment, you may find yourself just standing around waiting for the appointed time to arrive, which has happened to me on a number of occasions. Oh, hello there, Mr. Cuckoo. Fine night to be killing aliens. Son of a bitch! I hope the aliens cook you after Christmas! Oh, that's real sweet, guys. I'm gonna go reverse time now and completely undo this for the sake of saving the world. Oh, I guess you won't be needing this chest of rupees either. I'll just take those right out of your hands. Then there's the stone mask, which, as you can probably guess from the design of the mask, makes you completely undetectable to enemies. What, you couldn't tell from the design that it makes you practically invisible? Come on, really? The boss is a giant mechanical beast named Goat, who can be really fun to fight when you chase him down with the Goron roll, but what kind of name is Goat? I thought Goat was an odd name for a boss, but the boss of the Great Bay Temple is named George. Okay, maybe that's not how it's pronounced, but it looks like George to me, so I'm going to call him George. Getting to this place is a pain in the ass because you constantly need to use the Ocarina song, the Elegy of Emptiness, to materialize clones of yourself and your masked forms to press multiple switches. If that wasn't bad enough, look at these clones! What the fuck, man? Why do they all look so fucking freaky? This particular one was the inspiration for a successful ghost story. What's with that fucking face? What the fuck is the matter with this guy? Well, to go off on a tangent, the Fierce Deity mask is awesome, but it's a game breaker. You can only use it during boss battles, but with it on, you can't possibly lose. The final battle between Link and Majora is in this colorful mess of an arena. The first part isn't so bad, especially with the Fierce Deity mask I mentioned earlier, but like Ganondorf himself, Majora has a second form upon defeating the first form, and it's batshit insane. Look at this thing, it's running around like a chicken without its head. It does the Cossack, it even fucking moonwalks. This is my third time facing this guy, and I'm still not sure how to assess this creature. I have to ask though, where's my Majora's Mask 3D? Come on Nintendo, Ocarina of Time 3D sold like hotcakes, you're remaking Wind Waker for the Wii U, and you're making a sequel to A Link to the Past, which I'm incredibly grateful for, but where's the love for Majora's Mask? I know it's probably only a matter of time, but I'd like a more concrete yes or no.